In this tutorial, we're going to cover some of the problems you might have with some animating. So let's just go over a few things real quick in case things aren't working smoothly for you. And let's take a look at some of the problems that could happen. One of the things, we do need to make sure that our object is selected. If you don't have the right object selected, then you are not going to see any of these keyframes down here. If I went ahead and added another object into my scene here, here's a cube, and I had the cube off to the side and I had that selected, I don't have any keyframes or animation tied to that cube, so I'm not going to see any of those gold lines down here across the timeline. Well, let's go ahead and delete that. I pressed X and I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to go ahead and left click on this monkey head here, and now that we've got that selected, that was our thing that we animated, and now you can see that we have all these keyframes. Well, let's get rid of those. And so I'm going to try to go ahead, and you see this little button down here in the bottom middle has that key with the slash through it. That means to delete keyframes. You can see that written out in the words there. We're going to go ahead and click on that button, but it gives us an error. It says, hey, I don't know what kind of keyframe you're talking about. And we can go ahead and click on the empty gray box right in the middle. Now we can choose it, because remember we used the location keyframe. That's what we're going to select. We're going to have that in the box down here, and then we're going to click on the delete keyframe. Now if we go ahead and right click hold, we can move that green line. We're going to jump over here to frame number 10. And you can see that we still have a keyframe, but that yellow keyframe in the very beginning is gone. So we're going to go ahead, now that we have location selected, we can just click delete keyframe. And then we're going to go ahead and move over here to the next keyframe. We're going to delete that one too. We're just going to get rid of all these and do a slightly different animation. I just move that up, right click hold, and then I can drag that over there and delete that out. Now you can also move up and down the timeline by clicking inside of this box, and you can just drag your mouse up and down, or you can click in there and you know that you're going to frame 50, so you just type that in and away you go. There's another location keyframe. We're going to get rid of that. So right now we went ahead and took out all those keyframes, and we also found out that if you don't have the right object selected, you will not find the keyframe to delete. So let's go ahead and rewind this all the way back to the beginning of any sort of animation that we're going to do, and we're going to just do a couple quick things real quick. We're going to go ahead and put our object back over here. Let's kind of center it a little bit right into that right along the y-axis on the outside there. I'm going to put it down close to the grid. I'm panning around to make sure it's placed in the right where I want it to be. Now I'm going to put a keyframe, but notice I still have location selected. Instead of deleting a keyframe, I'm just going to click on that key right there. That's another way that you can add in a keyframe. Now I'm going to just grab inside here. I'm going to slide on over. I wanted about 15. I went ahead and clicked in there, and I slid my mouse around, and it took me to the right keyframe that I wanted to get to. Or there's those little arrows there. There's lots of ways to do that. You can click the little arrow one thing at a time. And now we're on number 15. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this little monkey head off to the side. I'm going to put them down over there. I'm going to put in a new keyframe. I'm going to go ahead and click on keyframe to insert. Now I'm going to go ahead and move up another 15. I'm going to move up to frame number 30 here. I'm going to click one more in. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy over here, and I'm going to move him, go ahead and shoot him right up here to the end. And then I'm going to put in another keyframe. Just go ahead and click there. And then I'm going to take him all the way back. I'm going to drop him back about where I started from. And I'm going to make sure I'm on frame number 50. And I'm going to go ahead and, our computer moved it back for us there. I'm going to move him back over there. We are now on frame 50. You can see the 50 there on frame 50, and now I'm going to click another keyframe in. Now let's go ahead and just play a quick animation. Let's see if he animates very well. He sure does. He goes everywhere where we want him to go. So we can make them go different places by adding in more keyframes. We can also make a longer video by adding more frames in there. If you want to do that, you would just click down in here. You can drag it down here and make your video longer. It just takes a little bit longer on the rendering time. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that, and I hope your animation is working well. If you need to delete some keyframes, that's how to do it. Adding in some keyframes is fine too. Another one you might want to experiment with while you're, maybe if you have a little extra time in class, maybe your scaling keyframe, because that way you can use the scale and maybe even the rotation scale keyframe to make things a little larger, turned, and bigger, and the whole business. So kind of enjoy exploring that a little bit if you are out of time. And one of the things that you will need to do is when you get into your file and your animation, one of the things you will need to do with your animation is turn it in for an upload. So there you can turn it in to me and I can make sure that you've got some things going on. If you're having trouble with it, go ahead and post a comment to me, maybe send me an email, and I will try to get back to you if I don't get to you in class. All right, good job guys, keep it up. We're learning